Looks good. Looks good. How we doing on Facebook? Facebook's getting the feed now. Oh shit, we're everywhere, man.
Nice. Hello, everyone on different platforms.
Yes, sir.
Thank God you're doing this, Tim, because I don't know what the fuck I'm doing when it comes to streaming and shit. I'm a noob, and yeah.
Hey, look, man, don't thank me yet. Make sure this shit works first. I don't want to let you there. Right. Tim's an expert. No one can hear us, Mike. Now, hold on. Let me check. Let me see. Hey, guys, we're live if you are. Hey. Dang, that was quick. Brian Crosby says, hey, Tim and Mike's audios are good. That's what's up, man. Little hand clap. All right, guys. Welcome to another edition of No Sellouts. I'm your man, Tim Black. And today, I have a guest, a friend who's been on the show a number of times. I've been on his show. It's a guy I feel like is a kindred spirit, some would say. You know, as we talked earlier, we pretty much agree on everything. We come on the same side of the issues, and I'm just humbled to have him return to the show again. Your friend and mine, Mike Figueredo of the Humanist Report. Give it up.
Hey everyone, I'm super excited to be back. Tim Black's show is always amazing. I tune in as much as I possibly can. You're killing it, man. Love what you do.
Man, same thing here, man. You are really kicking some butt, Mike, man. And I remember, man, like you and I, we know what it's like to go from 10,000, 20,000 and just slowly build, man. So you're one of those people I respect so much, man, because you did largely everything you've done on your own for the most part. You know what I'm saying? Struggling. Yeah, brother.
It's it's tough. You know, it is a struggle. But if you stick to what you're doing and you believe in what you're doing and you feel like you can make a difference, then I feel as though, you know, you just got to turn on your camera and do it. I am getting an echo though. I don't know if the audience can hear that. It's just replaying everything that.
Do you have a window open monitoring the stream right now? Let
me see.
You probably got a good Mac over there. See, I'm using a PC, man. I have too many windows open. I'm done.
Okay, yeah. It was a window open. So I'm like, hang on a second. So I was trying to listen to what you're saying too, and I'm like, okay, I'm hearing myself, but no, okay, yeah, that was a simple fix. Okay, so we're good.
No problem, man. Yeah, like I was saying, look, I told Mike to save this because it was such a great damn story. Mike said last weekend, you just did what now?
Yeah, just yesterday, Jimmy Dore, Ron Falcone, Miserable Liberal, they actually came out to Northeast Portland at the Alberta Rose Theater, and I was a panelist on their show, and man, it was amazing. I don't even know how to explain it. So many progressives in a room. I mean, it was fire. It was so much fun. It was the first time that I actually talked about politics and progressive politics to people and not just the camera. So to actually have that feedback right there it was amazing. I know you've been on panels, you've done live shows and whatnot, Tim Black. But yeah, it was so much fun. And Jimmy and Ron and Steph, they killed it, of course.
Yeah, man, that's amazing, man. And look, give it up for Mike going into the Lion's Den live, you know. Give it up for that, you know. It's a great thing, man.
Yeah.
And you couldn't have chose to do it with better people, man. I mean, I've hung out, I've done that same thing here in D.C. with Jimmy, the Miserable Liberal, Steph, and Ron Falcone, and Lee Camp, man. It was just fun, man. And a crowd of people that get where you're coming from. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? It's nothing like it, man. So what was can you give us a moment that was like great? Anything that happened?
Well, we were making fun of, I don't know if you saw the segment on MSNBC with Stephen Klubeck, the millionaire who was whining about the Democratic Party moving too far to the left. That was amazing. That was probably my favorite part because we were just shitting on him in so many different ways. The audience was yelling out that he looks like Eric Cartman. We were making fun of his neck. It was just so amazing because, oftentimes we feel as though these people, they have us by the balls, right? They're controlling everything. They bought off our politicians and we're powerless. But to have all that people in the room just shitting on one person, I know that might sound petty, but it was fucking amazing. And it was my favorite part. But there was a lot, there's a lot that happened. But to shit on someone who's so smug and so arrogant, Oh, it felt great, Tim.
Yeah, man. Hey, look, sometimes you got to give it back, man. And that used to be one of my complaints about liberal media is like they get beat up on. You know, you got people like Tommy Loren. She doesn't care about, you know, feelings, you know.
And she's a hypocrite on everything.
Yeah, she is, bro. Cal did a good takedown of her, but yeah, man, like I agree with you, man. Like it's sometimes you got to give them the 1-2, man. You got to give them, you know, a little something, and the crowd being involved. That's amazing, man. That's a great environment.
Yeah, it was fun. And Jimmy made this comment during the show. He was like, "We have the best hecklers because people would just get up and yell, but it's never like to shit talk one of us. It's always just to be like, yeah, fuck yeah, I love you, Jimmy." And like that vibe is just so much fun. You know, there's so much energy. Yeah, and I just had a blast. You know, it felt good to be around other progressives because oftentimes it really feels as though the walls are closing in and there's just a couple of voices like you, me, Kyle, Jimmy online. But when you get out there and you actually meet people, you really realize that our movement is huge, you know, and we will win one day. It might take 100 years. We might be dead long before, but I think that what we're starting now, you know, it's something huge. So yeah, there's a lot of people that are energized and they're motivated, and it was fun. It was a blast. So I think we're doing something good, man. And people see it and they like it.
Yeah, man, they do like it, man. In fact, Portland must be like a hub for progressives because Lee Camp has this schedule to appear in Portland, I think in either January or February. I don't want to get the dates wrong. Go to leecamp.net, guys, to find out. But I think something is about Portland, man. Like something, the people must really be about change in Portland.
Yeah, I saw somebody respond to a Twitter comment that Jimmy Dore posted saying that he was in Portland, and they're like, "Welcome to liberal Mecca," because it really, really feels like that. Now, I will, you know, there's a caveat. If you leave Portland, some areas are pretty conservative. You know, there are areas that are basically, I call them mini Texas, you know, or mini, you know, Alabama, because they're really weird. But when you're in Portland, there's just this energy that, you know, you feel like you could be yourself. And even though I'm not necessarily, I'm kind of a boring person, let's be real. But, you know, you could, if I wanted to like spray paint my hair blue or some shit like that, I would get like thumbs up from people. It's just, you know, it's just fun, you know, and there's this saying, keep Portland weird. You see it on bumper stickers everywhere. It really is a weird city, but in the most fun way. So when I watch shows like Portlandia, it's not too far off. It might be a little bit hyperbolic, but you know, it's a weird city. And I feel like I kind of fit right in there, which is why when people, you know, you know, once in a while have a Trump supporter call me a cuck and they'll say I'm just a liberal hipster. I'm from Portland. It's in my blood, man. I'm a hipster.
That's right, man. It's room for everyone to be themselves, man. Mm-hmm. Like that, I try my best to just maintain who I am. Black guy from DC, man, and you know, been around the bend a bit, you know, and just stay in my lane. And I let, you know, you do your thing. Lee does his thing. Jimmy does his thing. Holly Seeliger. We all do our own thing from our own vantage point. We should all be ourselves, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
But speaking to some of the attitudes around the way, man, what did you think about the Democratic wins recently? Because I'll go first. I'll say I've been hearing a lot of people doing a lot of clapping for the Democrats winning recently, and it concerned me because I don't think real reform is taking place in the way that I think that they could truly take over the process. And I also believe that the wins, the majority of the wins, or the wins that I was most impressed with, came from Democratic socialists. And I'm not seeing like of course, corporate media is not reporting it that way. It's just like they ran as Democrats. It doesn't matter that, one, they didn't get much support from the DNC, and two, they are more inspired from Bernie Sanders than from, say, a Hillary Clinton or Tom Perez type wing of the establishment. So what do you think about that, man? What's your take?
You know, I think I agree with everything that you're saying, that, yeah, the most important wins, they did come from Democratic socialist candidates who the DNC just completely, you know, ignored. And I think that the biggest takeaway from these elections for the centrists anyways, is that Ralph Northam, you know, he was a centrist. So of course that means that we can be centrist and still win. But look, I think that there's enough wins on both sides to where we both can basically say that, well, you have to be progressive to win. And then they'll say, no, you have to be centrist to win, you know? And part of it, and this is something that I was hoping I would be wrong about, but I have a feeling that it's going to be correct, is that the thing about having a Republican Party that's so insane and having an unpopular president like Donald Trump is that the Democratic Party knows that they really don't have to change a single thing And voters, if you give them a little bit of time, they'll be running back to the party with open arms. Not everyone, but a lot of voters will be galvanized to get out and vote because Republicans are batshit fucking crazy. So they're just pretty much thinking, if we wait this out, if we don't reform the DNC, even if we don't abolish superdelegates or open up the primaries, they're still going to come back to us. And this is evidence that they did. But really, when you see these crazy races where Democratic Socialists of America candidates are winning in races that really, according to their logic, they shouldn't be winning in, I think this validates us more. But again, I have my own biases, right? Like I said, we can say that our side, we're vindicated from these elections, and they can say the same thing with Ralph Northam and whatnot. But the takeaway is that even if voters come running back to Democrats, this isn't going to be a long-term victory. This is going to be a short-term victory because we'll see the same cycle. It's like a pendulum, in my opinion. Like it swings back and forth to Republicans and Democrats. But if we really want Democrats to be in power for a long time, for a sustained period of time, and make it so that way the policies that they implement stay there and they're long-lasting, then they need to be like FDR, the New Deal. Because even Republicans, once they were elected after the New Deal was put into place, you couldn't challenge it. You could not come out against the New Deal, even if you were a Republican. So it's short-term victories, when really you and I, we're looking at the long term. We want to make sure that we get these policies codified into law that is actually going to stay for decades and will be socially unacceptable for anyone to even question it, because of course they're going to be so popular. That's my takeaway. I don't know what you feel about that.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. It's not so much about them being Democrats, though. It's like, for me, Mike, it's the best candidate, with the best policies that help the people, whether it's Green, whether it's Progressive Independent Party. I'm sure you agree with that.
Absolutely.
It's just that, it just so happens that the Republican candidates typically suck. Yeah. And the Democratic candidates, they suck sometimes too, but not as bad. So it is a quandary for progressives, right, to kind of push them in the direction and think we're actually getting momentum just for them to end up getting the Northland win like you just described. But he's a Wall Street, he's a Republican in any other century, well, not century, but a couple decades ago, this guy would have been a Republican. He wouldn't even be considered a Democrat, He
voted for Bush twice, right?
Yeah, it is.
Come on.
Yeah. And as much of the Democratic establishment are truly they're centrists, but they're center Republicans, in my opinion, and they get to pass themselves off as this. So I'm really careful about how I phrase my feelings about the Democratic Party, because it's a party. There are good people in it, there are bad people in it. But the ones who, the neoliberals, the ones who want globalists, they want the trade that hurts America. Those are the ones that are for bank deregulation. These are the ones that take all this Wall Street money. And don't get me wrong, I'm understanding you gotta have money to run until we get our system cleaned up, Mike, man. Hands are kind of tied with some of these guys. Everyone can't raise money like Bernie did, but damn it, we gotta try, because we gotta get the influence of big money out of politics. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. That's such a huge point, about money in politics, because until we do some type of campaign finance reform, be it overturning Citizens United or getting, or starting at the local level, which I think is really important, because some localities have basically made it so that way they'll give candidates matching funds if they can raise it, via grassroots, for example. And of course, I'm oversimplifying it, but we see that happening. But the Democratic Party, unless we get money out of politics, they're always going to default back to that excuse that we can't show up to a gunfight with knives, so we have to take this money from Wall Street. I think it was Barney Frank that said last year when he was being interviewed, well, if Democrats are only taking 20% of Wall Street's money, do you really want us to stop taking that money? And the answer is yes, because if Wall Street gives someone like Hillary Clinton hundreds of millions of dollars, are they going to be more inclined to listen to, is she going to be more inclined to listen to her Wall Street donors, or someone who's a middle-class American that donates $25? We all know what the answer is. So the whole point about democracy is, one person, one vote. Our voices are all supposed to be equal. It's supposed to be, a competition of ideas, but this is a competition of who can raise the most money. And especially the plague that is money in politics, it's especially prevalent in these local races and House races, especially because nobody knows who the hell a lot of these people are, with the exception of progressives and people who watch our show because they're hyper aware of everything. But money is a virus. Now, here's the one thing about people like Northam. Yes, you do have to run money. There's no way you can have a successful race without raising money. But what Democrats can do is, even if you need a lot of money to win a race, which none of us are denying that, why do you have to go to the most egregious sources? Why do you have to go to Wall Street? You can raise a lot of money from unions if they really feel as though you're backing them, and believe it or not, you can raise a lot of money via grassroots. Back in the day when I just turned, the voting age, I contributed to Obama when I was just working at Subway a couple days a week, even though I knew he was raising a lot of money and that wouldn't make a big difference. But I just felt inspired. I mean, if you inspire people, you will get money, so it's just a matter of getting them excited. But they feel as though they have to be these milquetoast centrists, they don't want to be crazy. They're the grown-ups, Tim. They're not far left or far right. They're the grown-ups in the room, and we're the ones who are crazy, and we're fringe, even though we, all of the policies that we're pushing for are, supported by a majority of the population. But they think that they have to be, they have to walk this middle ground. And there was I don't know if you saw this interview on Morning Joe. I think it took place this morning with Joe Manchin and Susan Collins, where they were just so pretentious and smug about, we're centrists, we're moderates, we come together and we compromise, when really they're not compromising on policy and trying to collaborate on policy. They just sell out to all types of donors. That's all that means in this day and age. So you sell out to typically Republican voters and Democratic voters. I mean, Joe Manchin, he took a lot of money from the NRA. They endorsed him, actually, I believe, over the Republican during his first run, but they did cut him off after he wanted universal background checks after Sandy Hook. So, the money in politics, it's an issue. And I've said this on my show. It's so fundamentally important.
Yeah, I mean, that was like the only litmus test I really had for candidates who came to my program. It was like, do you agree that we need to get money out of politics? And they say, yes. I say, okay, well, let's keep talking. Like, because to me, if I don't know that, then I don't know where your heart is ever going to be. We can't compete against the pocketbook of Wall Street. We can't compete against the pocketbook of Big Pharma. We just can't. So that's just reality. But something you said really hit the nail on the head. Like when I first started doing videos, you try to look at it like, okay, well, I want to be fair about an issue I would cover. And you kind of get into the thing of, am I looking at it from this point of view? Am I looking at it from that point of view? Am I being fair and balanced? And then I realized something, Mike. I said, you know what, man? I'm just going to call it the way I see it. There are going to be people that leave. There are going to be people that stay. Either way, this is the easier way to do it. Not to be like worried about who I'm pissing off, but just know that I'm going to the mat for what I believe in. And if politicians looked at their constituents and the issues they fought for, like you just pointed out, Joe Manchin, the centrist, the moderate, no one gets excited about the moderate guy. Like, we want to hear you kick some ass, man. We want to hear you take some people down when it's time to take them down. We want you to stand up for us. That's what excites people. And that's what works on YouTube. That's what works on other platforms. They want people who are not gun shy, who are, focus group testing. That's like the Hillary Clinton method of what do I care about, a public stance and a private stance. Yeah. So like, it's not just politics, man. It kind of bleeds over into what we do as well. I don't know if you see what I'm saying there. If you see my point.
Absolutely. And it's because the things that we're talking about, I mean, you and I, the difference between us and politicians is that we are normal people. Like we actually talk to normal people. We're around normal people all the time. We are normal people. So, what we want is the same thing that other Americans want. Medicare for all, tuition-free public colleges and universities. Nobody's excited for incrementalism. It was funny to bring up that Joe Manchin and Susan Collins interview. They talked about how they really wanted some radical moderates. What does that mean? How can a moderate be radical? That doesn't even make sense to me.
Sounds like cold hot water, or cold warm water, or hot warm water. Like that doesn't. No, by definition, a moderate is not exciting. It's not hardcore. Like.
It's
What?
boring. It's those people that sit around the fireplace with their pipes and they read books and they drink their tea and shit. Like, that's not what a lot of us do. You know, we're average people and we want you to go to bat for us. We want you to stand up and fight for Medicare for all. And what we're asking for is not unreasonable. I mean, they make it seem as though policy issues like Medicare for all, it's just this pipe dream. It's impossible. Every other fucking modern country has this. So why is it so difficult here? We're the only country that can't get it together. And it's because of money and politics. I mean, 9 times out of 10, that's going to be the defining reason why a politician will or won't support Medicare for all, unless they're going to run for president. And then there's a little bit of wiggle room. And, Kirsten Gillibrand, Kamala Harris, those people might come out and support it if there's some, political expediency there.
Man, when you brought that up about Kirsten Gillibrand, I was thinking about Elizabeth Warren, and I haven't done a video on it today, but I am going to later. She walked back her comments about the democracy being rigged, the Democratic Party process in 2016. And I know you've reported on her, and I think we have the same take. Mm-hmm. Sometimes she has such promise, man. It's like, I want to like her because what she used to stand for. Mm-hmm. And there was a semblance of the old Elizabeth Warren there for a minute. She looked at the camera, Mike. She was like, it's rigged. Mm-hmm. Next question, mofos. She was real. And then what did she do a week later? Not even a week, Mike, man. She walked that shit on back, man. I'm like, oh, man, that's the Elizabeth Warren that I got too familiar with. What do you think about her walking back her comments?
Well, with the way that she keeps changing, her position on things like this, she's giving me whiplash. It's, that Elizabeth Warren, when she said, yes, it was rigged, that sparked something in me to where I felt as though she really realized, whoa, this is a wake-up call. It's all out now. There's no hiding it. We have to address this, and progressives were right. That's the way that I thought she saw the world. And I thought, she's back. How can you not be back? We have Elizabeth Warren because, even though a lot of my viewers, they kind of give me shit once in a while, and rightfully so, because I am still attached to Elizabeth Warren. I can't cut that cord yet because she was so inspirational to me. She created the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. She's great. But then she walked it back, like you said. And all I see this as is that 2016 Elizabeth Warren, who is being calculative again, who doesn't want to endorse Bernie because she doesn't want to offend one other side, the Hillary wing, and she doesn't want to offend the Hillary wing now. So she's walking a fine line when really you can't walk a fine line between the Bernie Sanders wing, if you want to call it that, and the Hillary wing. You just can't, because after what was done to the Bernie wing, all these people who were out there day and night canvassing and face banking and phone banking for Bernie Sanders, when they were screwed over, you can't walk a fine line, between something like that. So she wants to have it both ways. She wants to appeal to both sides, probably because she wants to win in 2020. But all she's doing is she's isolating the Bernie Sanders wing of the party. And really, this Hillary wing, it may seem like they're a huge force, like I'm talking about the Peter Dows, the near attendants, but really they're on Twitter. Yeah, I know, right? I don't see these types of people in real life, Tim, but I see the Bernie people in real life, and it's not just in my bubble. I mean, I saw 2 Hillary Clinton bumper stickers in Portland compared to like 50 Bernie ones. So I feel as though this rabid Hillary wing, they don't really exist. So in pandering to them, you're just pandering to like a couple thousand people on Twitter. But I don't know, but I feel what you feel about this, dude. I'm so frustrated. I'm so frustrated with Elizabeth Warren. I'm trying so hard to forgive and forget. She's making that very difficult. Right.
Like the people that say, that Hillary Clinton is still popular, or that, they're the Democratic Party right now as a broad party, not as individual people running in it that are good people, some of them. They think that Hillary Clinton, was the bee's knees or whatever the hell, man. Dude, I'm trying to tell you, I didn't meet a single person that was excited about Hillary Clinton. And I went a lot of places in 2016. I had a lot of shows. I had open phone lines 4 days out the week back then. And I didn't get a lot of Hillary people calling up. Now, occasionally I would get people that were afraid of Trump, but that's not excitement. That's fear. Mm-hmm. Right? So those people, and especially when you got a media telling you that she's good, Oh, she's got a 90% chance, 95% chance of winning. So obviously a lot of people didn't come out. So part of what bit the Democrats in the ass, I think, Mike, is the fact that the media was so in the tank for Hillary, it gave people a false sense of security who may have came out to vote if they actually knew that Trump was going to win this shit, which is something that, I and H.A. Goodman had talked about back when he used to come on this show. But yeah, man, I'm looking at the Peter Dow's and Neera Tandon's. I recently got into it with Neera because she retweets people who completely routinely shit on progressives and ride this centrist, talking points and call us Russian bots. They call us propagandists. They call us Alex Jones. And I'm really tired of Neera Tandon and her crew, man. Peter Dow is a laughing stock. All of these people, they're on the bank rolls. That's one thing they have in common. They all have jobs, Mike. They all have jobs where their money is controlled by staying on the Hillary camp. That's what I think. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree with that. The reason why they're so angry and they're lashing out is because they no longer have that job opportunity if Hillary were to win. Neera Tandon would be in the White House. Peter Dow would be in the White House. So when we get angry, we're angry because they cost us, or they cost Bernie the election, someone who would have fought for Medicare for all. When they get mad at us, it's because you ruined my chances at a job because you weren't excited about Hillary Clinton. And, here's the thing about excitement and enthusiasm for Hillary Clinton. I was trying the best that I possibly could to remove myself from this bubble that I'm in because we're both in progressive bubbles. It's difficult to see past the bias. But I'm sorry, Donna Brazile, someone who was in the bubble, you can't be further in a Hillary Clinton bubble than to be part of the DNC. She said she didn't see enthusiasm for Hillary Clinton. If Donna Brazile says it, there was no enthusiasm for Hillary Clinton because we all know that she wasn't a fan of Bernie. She loved Hillary Clinton. She leaked a debate question to her. We all know, and I've covered this extensively. So there was no enthusiasm, and the media, they tried to basically I don't know what the proper way to say this is. They tried to do revisionist history as it was happening. They tried to piss on our legs and tell us that it was raining. It's not really pee. They tried to make it seem as though everyone is super excited about Hillary Clinton, but people who were showing up, like, Jordan Sheridan, they would report, she can't even fill a high school gymnasium. Like there's nothing. Meanwhile, you see all these people coming out, for Trump, thousands and thousands of people. And yes, it is the case that, these types of, events, they don't translate directly into votes, but it's a great gauge of enthusiasm. And there was nothing for Hillary Clinton. Who would be excited about someone who voted for the Iraq War twice, who voted for the Iraq War and then voted for the Patriot Act twice, I believe, because I think she voted to reauthorize it as well. I mean, she sold fracking around the world. People were hurting, and we had no reason to believe that she would do anything that would substantially benefit our lives. This incrementalism, with how fast things were going downhill, incrementalism was not going to help us whatsoever. So there wasn't that enthusiasm. And yeah, the media, they did make everyone believe that Hillary Clinton had this in the bag. They convinced me. I also thought Hillary Clinton was going to win. I was wrong. I was one of the many people that were wrong. I think you were one of the few people that were right about her losing to Donald Trump. I didn't think it was possible. And even though I knew it was, okay, let me walk that back. I knew it was possible, but I thought that overall she probably would win just because, it's Donald Trump, right? It's easy. This is a cakewalk. You're playing on the easiest difficulty if this was a video game. How can you lose to him? So that's why I had that in the back of my mind. But then you also hear all these themes in the mainstream media and whatnot. Oh, she's gonna win. She's gonna flip red state. She's gonna take Utah, maybe might even take Texas. So it's difficult when you just hear that day in and day out to not just think, okay, yeah, she has this. I don't have to come out and even vote for her. And I think a lot of people didn't come out to vote for her because they thought she had it in the bag.
Yeah, I mean, who could blame you, Mike? I mean, at the 12th hour, they were running clips back to back of Donald Trump saying on an open mic he likes grabbing women, like he likes sexually assaulting women, man. And she still lost. So
how can you lose to that?
How can you lose that? How could you that's so like no one could like call you, like no one could like give you shit for not thinking she could win. I mean, people really did not like Hillary Clinton. So that had to be it, bro, because there's no way. I mean, I'm sure, and the women that voted for him, I mean,
yeah,
they overlooked it because they said that's isolated. But Hillary's corruption is not isolated; it's global. It's so, and you know what? And I don't. Sometimes the people I talk to, like when I do field reporting, sometimes Mike, I go down to DC. I just walk up to people on the street, just talk to them, ask them questions, and some of those people, they didn't know the big issues like TPP. They didn't know about fracking, but they just weren't excited because Hillary gave them no big ideas. Like
nothing.
Trump had the wall. You may disagree with the wall, but at least you heard about it. Like you knew he was running on this wall thing. And then maybe you heard he wants to deport illegals. And you may disagree, but at least it's something that's giving him a buzz. With Hillary, it was, I'm going to do what Obama did. I'm here to run Obama's his legacy, or you want more Obama, you get me, I'm with her. Those were not things that anyone was getting for themselves. Like, those weren't things that I thought that people saw as truly beneficial to their lives. And whether, so that was one of the reasons why I felt that, Hillary could definitely lose. I wasn't positive she'd lose. I just thought it was very possible because I had Trump supporters calling the show every week, and they weren't scared at all. They were like, Tim Black is your man, AJ from New Bed-Stuy. I'm a Trump supporter, and my boy Trump be getting beat up, but hey, it's going to be okay. So man, I just think I thought they would learn their lessons, Mike. Like, I was hoping that they would reform themselves. But, dude, you said it in the beginning. Maybe they're looking at these wins and going, what's there to reform? We're winning this shit.
Mm-hmm. That's what I was afraid would happen, and it goes to show that progressives, we're never going to have this easy. We're not going to be able to take over the party. We're not, if we want Medicare for all, if we want tuition-free public colleges and university, a $15 minimum wage, we can never take it easy. We can never take a break. We always have to fight vociferously for all of these ideals because, the Democratic Party, they know, there's been a lot of elections, and the current consultants and whatnot, everyone in DC, they've seen George Bush, the huge blue wave after George Bush, and then they saw the red wave after Obamacare passed, so it goes back and forth, and they know that you really don't have to change much. So that's the thing that sucks, is because they're taking away all the wrong, basically, conclusions. Anything that they should be doing, they're thinking, well, this is proof. We don't have to do anything now because, even if everyone hates us and Hillary Clinton is now more unpopular than Donald Trump, which is crazy to me, we don't have to do shit because they're coming back to us. It's already happening. And it hasn't even been a year. This isn't even 2018, and we're already seeing that, So, but yet, one thing that, and I'm ashamed to admit this, I listened to the Peter Dow podcast, Tim. I listened to about a half an hour, and that was all I could take. And he was saying, Democrats, you have to support them. Otherwise, you're effectively supporting Republicans. And the reason why we can't shift to the Bernie wing of the party is because everyone who Bernie Sanders endorses ends up losing. But this is such a superficial, frankly, idiotic analysis because the DNC, they don't want progressives to have wins. They don't give any funds to the candidates that Bernie Sanders endorses. If you look at some progressives like Sarah Smith, they basically make them jump through hoops just to get access to NGP van. So they're kneecapping all these progressives. And then when they lose because the DNC fucked them over, basically, they say, see, they can't win. So it's this,
right.
I don't even know what to say. Every week we come out, Tim, and we say basically the same thing. You have to reform, you have to reform, you have to reform. And they know they've done this, they know that they just have to wait. So this is why I say we've got to fight really hard. We can never have it easy if we're progressive and we want to get what we want done, codified into law. We always have to fight. It's always going to be an uphill battle for us.
Yeah, man. The great point about the NGP van and how they sort of tie the shoestrings of the progressives, and then they say, time to run, and they wonder why they can't run. Well, you just tied their shoestrings. You just what is it? Who was it? I forget the girl that hit the other lady in the legs with a pole before the Olympics. But Mary Lou Retton, I don't know. It's a long time ago. But my point is they do things like this. There's this woman, Jamu, on Twitter, who recently recently debated with Teslin Figaro, who was the worked for Bernie Sanders as the, I think it was community outreach or social justice outreach coordinator or something. And she's a really good friend of mine. Anyway, Jammu Green, that's her last name. She was tweeting up a storm a week ago, about how, you know, the Bernie Sanders is the problem. You know, back when Donna broke the story, Bernie's the problem. Nothing that the Democrats did affected in a single solitary vote, and it's impossible. And, you know, somehow she couldn't make the correlation between a party having a bias for a particular candidate and that translating to things that happen in the states. And to me, that's a totally disingenuous argument. Like if the Democratic Party is very powerful, and if they control the purse strings, they give money to the states. Particularly in 2016, the way I understand it, Mike, was Hillary was taking all the money that was coming in from the states and then giving back a pittance. Like it was going to the Hillary Victory Fund, and then they would decide like all the money had to be sent to her. I don't know exactly how they allocated the money after that, but I gotta believe, man, that these folks who believe that how can I say this, man? Shit, man, Jammu is garbage. Jammu Green is garbage. But she lost the debate, and the debate was we're going to blame Bernie. We're going to blame progressives for the DNC leaks. We're going to blame the progressives for the Donna Brazile statements, and we're just going to say that nothing affected the election. And I don't know, man, maybe jump in here. Mike, what do you think about that whole talking point that, yeah, we cheated, or yeah, we rigged it? They don't want to use the word rig, Mike. They want to use the word bias. Okay, they had a bias, but it didn't affect votes. Do you think that's true?
Not at all. And let me just say how weird it is that these same people who claims that the DNC couldn't have possibly rigged the election, they're the same people that contend that memes, like color Bernie Sanders memes, order a Bernie Sanders coloring book posted by Russian bots, that tipped the election. That memes that said support Hillary, Muslims for Hillary, that tipped the election. You know what I mean? Like these posts on Facebook. But, you know, everything that they did couldn't possibly have rigged the election. And this new line that we're seeing from people like Robbie Mook, people like Joyanne Reid, people like Tom Perez is that, well, we couldn't have rigged the election because states are the ones that run primaries. It's not the national DNC headquarters. It's like, oh, great. You know, in one of my videos, I stated, I'm really glad that you guys brought that up, actually, because you're reminding me of everything that happened. This has been a year ago now, or more than a year ago. I mean, we both remember at the Arizona convention or something, Roberta Lang brazenly rigged it in front of Bernie Sanders supporters. And then when they were outraged and booing, Debbie Wasserman Schultz went on MSNBC to talk about how they were getting violent and throwing chairs when that did not happen. Even Snopes debunked that, you know, and at different states, there were, what was it, in New York? I think it was Brooklyn. It was a district that would most likely, you know, it was leaning towards Bernie Sanders. 100,000 voters purged from the rolls.
200,000.
200,000.
Yeah, bro. Something
How
like
is that?
yeah.
But nothing happened. You know, that's not rigging. You know, you see these closed primaries. You see the debate schedule, which that really, even though that's the only thing that they'll basically admit, like if you hear Tom Perez will say, you know, we're gonna have a debate schedule posted before anything, before all the candidates announced. Yeah, that is a part of it, but it went deeper than the debate schedule. But the debate schedule was really, it was brazen. I mean, they put debates on, I think it was the weekend before Christmas. They put it, you know, right during huge NFL games. And why would they do this? It's only as if they wanted to hide away anyone who was Hillary Clinton's opponent, you know, like Bernie Sanders, so that way she could win. I mean, it was shameless rigging. So the fact that you can still say that it wasn't rigged when there's undeniable proof, it just makes these people like Jammu Green look foolish. And that's why they can't win debates against Bernie Sanders supporters, because there's so much evidence. It's like trying to argue that the sky is green or the earth is flat. These people look foolish, you know? And about Jammu, I actually invited her on my show back in February when she was running to be the DNC chair, because I did a video about her, and I don't remember what I was talking about, but basically how she was contradicting herself or something, and she saw it, and she tweeted at me, look, I'm willing to come on your show to hash this out. I'm like, actually, yes, this could actually be really great and helpful. Even though we disagree, I think we should have a conversation. She never got back to me, and the race was over. So it's like they're afraid of their ideas, Tim. You know, they don't want to bring their ideas to light. They don't want to talk to Bernie Sanders supporters. because they know that everything they're saying is bullshit and they're just trying to protect the status quo. That's all this is.
Absolutely, man. So she punked out on an interview with you. That'd have been great too, man. Because I know you. Yeah.
No, and she basically made it seem like she thought that I wouldn't be willing to do that.
Yeah.
So she just didn't respond after that. And it was like, I would be willing to talk with you. Like, and I think I said to her, like, I wouldn't be rude or combative. I wouldn't, be argumentative. I would be perfectly respectful. But I mean, if you want to defend your position, I talked about you in a video. So I think that's only right, for you to come on and defend yourself. And I promised I wouldn't be rude. And I'm not very, I'm not a very angry, I'm an angry person, but you don't really see that in my videos. Right. Like, I'm not a dick that often.
So you got a tough side, huh, Mike? You got to go at the throat side too?
Yeah. I have to wait a little bit and, kind of, do a little bit of, what's the word I'm looking for? Fucking yoga or something, beforehand to bring down my anger. When I get on camera, I'm calm, cool, and collective.
Do some chants and stuff, and kind of light the incense and the candles, and drink some wine or something.
That's exactly it. Yeah, because I feel like when I get into if I'm super angry, I notice all the videos where I'm angry, I'm the most incoherent person ever. I sound like a crazy person. So I've really got to go take these extra measures to make sure I'm calm.
I bet you people like it, Mike. I bet you they like seeing you become a little unhinged.
Probably, because I know that they feel the same way, that they're angry and whatnot.
Hey, dude, we should be pissed. They're still in our fucking democracy.
Yeah.
People are fucking dying, and these people are walking around with talking points like, oh, well, this, Tom Perez is, we're trying to get out the vote. We want everybody to vote. And we're going to bring the tent together and everything. And I'm like, shut the hell up, Tom. You are a hack. You're a Wall Street hack. You're an Obama appointee who just got called off the grill to come steal it from Keith Ellison.
Yes.
And Keith Ellison ain't much better, Mike, because he's supposed to come on my show, and he did the same thing Jamu did. He pumped out too. The exact same thing. So I'm not giving any cover for these guys. These guys, before I forget, dude, because I didn't make notes. Lincoln Chafee. We need to make Lincoln Chafee videos.
I saw the clip you're referring to on Fox News. Yes. I didn't watch it yet. I have the link saved so I could review it before my show because I'm thinking about covering it. Yeah, he said the fix was
exactly. Yeah, exactly. I'm like, oh shit, go Lincoln, Lincoln is riding. Yes. He's looking clean, man. And I would love to give him a little bit more publicity because Lord knows I didn't get a chance to make a single video about him when he was running because he was there so short. He was running for like 2 weeks or something, and I didn't get a chance to really dig into who he was. Yeah.
Well, my favorite Lincoln Chafee, since you brought up Lincoln Chafee, I want to share my favorite Lincoln Chafee moment at the debate. I forgot what it was. He talked about, or he was questioned about why he voted to repeal Glass-Steagall. I think that's what it was. And his excuse was just, man, it was beautiful. It was, I just got there. It was my first day or my second day. And, my dad just died. And, my car had a flat tire. And so give me a break. Come on, give me a break. And it was like, the fuck? That's your really?
It's so too real. He forgot to lie.
Yeah, he forgot to just lie, and so he quit after that because it was like, all right, this dude is kind of a joke. But at the same time, I was joking, like this dude looks like a stuffed animal, like he's that adorable grandpa that tells you his war stories that you just can't help but listen to because he just says crazy shit and he has a lot of life experience. So it's like I just want to adopt him as like my grandpa. Never vote for him, fuck that. But just adopt him and listen to him talk and record him and then put it on YouTube because I think it would be funny and entertaining.
Hey Mike, I want to ask you a question because I think you might have a very poignant answer to this. It's about Keven Spacey, and I don't know if you covered this on your channel or not, but I got a feeling that you have a response to a man who, when it's addressed allegations about him being a possible pedophile, he invokes, "Hey, I'm gay. I'm gay. I'm coming out now." How did that make you feel, man? Do you have a response to that?
It pissed me off like you would never believe because before I came out to my family and whatnot, I was really afraid because nobody in my family they didn't know any gay people, so everything that they thought about gay people was based on stereotypes. And one of the biggest stereotypes that I was so worried about is that they would think that I was a pervert or that I was a pedophile, you know, because this has basically been a false stereotype about gay people, that they're pedophiles, you know, they prey on children and whatnot. So I was afraid that my family would think that, you know, and thankfully they didn't, you know. But this is something that you see evangelicals, right-wingers use. You know, they can't adopt kids because they're pedophiles. So this is something that we have fought against. Before I was born, gay people were fighting against this. You know, no, there's not. We're just like normal people. You know, we're not pedophiles. Gay people are no more likely to be, you know, pedophiles or predators than straight people are. You know, so to hear him invoke that after we found out he was a pedophile, it made me so angry. You know, because there are people who are going to use that now. And I believe there were some, maybe you talked about it actually. I don't know if it was Ben Shapiro when I was watching your show. Use this as proof that, yes, see, gay people are predators. And it's so frustrating, you know, just because all the work that people did before I was even born to fight against these negative stereotypes, you know, I'm not going to say like he set the movement backwards, because I don't think that's the case, but I just feel as though people will use this as evidence that, you know, see, gay people, maybe they shouldn't have rights. Maybe transgender people shouldn't be able to use the same bathroom as children. You know, so it makes me so angry. You know, like who does this asshole think he is that he would deflect in the most disgusting way possible? You know, so yeah, that's what I got to say about it. I can't stand him.
Man, I just want to thank you for being, you know, very candid and open and honest about it. You know, I basically said the same things in the video, but coming from you to know that I was spot on, because I've heard that rhetoric before, man. And to me, it was shameful. It was sleazy of him. It's like, oh, I'm in the hot seat now? Well, let me give you this. That way it'll kind of deflect from my own bullshit. And it was totally self-serving, Mike. Like,
oh, yeah.
And it was no concern for all the young people out there who deal with that stigma from families who, like you said, or from society at large who just think dumb shit. And, yeah, I used to like Keven Spacey, you know.
Me too.
But it's easy not to like a guy when you get to really know him, you know?
Yeah. I'm glad I didn't finish House of Cards season 5, whatever the last one was. That shit was boring anyway. So I'm glad I didn't finish it. Fuck you. That's why fuck you to Keven Spacey. You know, so I don't know what happened, but fuck you, Keven Spacey. I stopped watching your show.
That's what I'm talking about, man. Man, I knew we'd have some fireworks on this show, man. I'm not up on everything, man. Is there anything else we missed? That's kind of Roy Moore, man. More perversion shit. Look, dude, like I watched.
Speaking of pedophiles, Tim.
There you know what I'm saying? You know, the thing with Roy Moore that bothers me is this guy acts like he can't remember shit. All right, we're not talking about when he was 17. We're talking about when the young woman was 17 and 14. Yeah. You were 30. If you were in your 30s and you're dating 14-year-olds, 15-year-olds, you got a fucking problem, man. Like, what do you talk about? Like, what do you have in common with a 14-year-old or 15-year-old? Nothing.
Right.
You know? Like, so to me, obviously you're a predator because there's nothing, it's not a two-way relationship. There's nothing there that you could share on a you know, a regular basis with an informed, intelligent woman or man, if that's your thing. You know what I mean? Like what could possibly be there for you to share over a drink? Shit, you can't drink alcohol, so don't say you were drinking a bottle of wine and conversating. You don't like the same music. You know what I'm saying? You don't like the same music. He probably likes that, oh, skippity beep 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 beep. You know that shit? Vaudeville shit, you know, and she's probably in the Elvis Presley or whatever, the 70s. I don't know I don't know what's the Rolling Stones. She's a Rolling Stones, you know, whatever. So that's my rant on that. What do you think? What do you think about Roy Moore?
I think you took the words out of my mouth, Tim, but you know, you articulated it way better than I could have. Yeah, okay, this dude, I'm 30 years old right now. I remember everything when I was 17, and if I did something really disgusting when I was 17, I think I would remember it even more so. It would be in my mind, and I would feel really bad about it, right? But to him, you know, it's a really convenient fact that all of a sudden I don't remember. I mean, Keven Spacey said the same thing. Oh, I honestly don't remember assaulting this guy. You know, none of them remember. In fact, George Takei, or Taki, however you pronounce his name, he said he didn't remember assaulting this guy who just recently came out when he was on the Howard Stern show talking about how, oh, I assaulted a guy. Ha ha, it was really funny. I don't know if you heard about that. Yeah. So, yeah, he said he didn't remember. And I watched Yeah, dude, the world is fucking upside down right now. It's crazy. He was on the Howard Stern show, and they were asking him about Keven Spacey, or maybe they were no. I'm sorry. They were asking him about Harvey Weinstein. This was before Keven Spacey.
Okay.
And he was talking about how, maybe I did this to a guy that was at my house or whatever, but joking, like trying to make light of it, saying, well, I wasn't using my powerful position to, tell him he's going to advance his career, but basically admitting in some way, shape, or form, they're trying to press him on it, but he was being pretty coy that, yeah, I did something fucked up. That was basically what he was dancing around. And then we see like a couple of weeks later, this guy says, yeah. Damn. So him saying he doesn't remember it, complete bullshit. So I just love how if you do something shitty, you could just say, I didn't remember it. And that's supposed to be a legitimate excuse. And now, your hands are clean. I'm sorry, but regardless if you remembered it or not, you still did it. I mean, or at least, somebody's saying that you did it. So just saying that you don't remember, that's not a valid excuse. If you get in a car and you are drinking and you kill someone, you can't say, well, I was drunk, I didn't remember it. That doesn't mean that you're not culpable, so it frustrates me because we know that they're lying and they're being so disingenuous about something so shitty that they did. And yeah, I get it, they're ashamed, but they should be ashamed. If you don't want to be ashamed for doing shitty things, then there's a really easy solution. Stop fucking doing shitty things. How is this? I mean, Jesus Christ, it's not that difficult. Stop assaulting people.
What pisses me off, or actually it doesn't piss me off, man, I kind of laugh at it, that these people are upset that truth is coming out. Like, that's what happens, man. Like, we all heard that axiom that what's done in the dark comes to light or something. Yeah. We all heard these things. And look, every once in a while, this shit actually does come down and people do find out about your garbage. Look, if someone said 20 years ago, I pushed an old lady down a flight of stairs, Michael, I'd be like, fuck no, I didn't push an old woman down a flight of stairs. I wouldn't be like, I don't remember. Let me think. Hold up, was there a woman I kind of brushed a little bit and gave her the shoulder? Like, no, I didn't. Like, I know I didn't do that. So that's the kind of, look, someone needs to tell these guys, like, either come out strong one way. Louis C.K., he had the best apology for, where, I say it was the best only because he didn't try to blame anyone else.
You're right.
You know what I'm saying? He was just like, yeah, I'm an asshole. Like, like that type of thing. And okay, there's just so much pain I want to give a guy who admits, like, I'm screwed up in some ways.
It doesn't, I agree with that, because we're not excusing him, but he at least admitted it, and that's important, because now you kind of, if these allegations come out when you're in Hollywood with everyone that's basically being exposed as a giant pervert and using, their powerful position to prey on other people, then a lot of us are going to be inclined to think that there's some merit to that. And I'm sorry, but I believe these people. We have no reason to doubt them, because with Harvey Weinstein, with Keven Spacey, people will use their power to do sick things. Power corrupts, and so this excuse that they don't remember, complete horseshit. I don't buy it. If they say that, I'm more inclined to not believe them and also hate them even more, because they're that much, ridiculous about it. So this shit is crazy watching all this unfold in Hollywood. Like, and not to mention, besides the Hollywood stuff, everything that's happened in politics, like, what world are we living in? It feels like we're in this reality show, that's just ongoing, and this crazy shit is happening around us. And reality has become stranger than fiction. It's weird.
It is weird, man. It's sickening, but I guess it'll keep you and I busy for the foreseeable future, covering all the bullshit, man.
I can barely keep up with the shit.
Right. Absolutely. Mike, man, it's been amazing conversation with you as usual. I already knew that.
Of course.
Tell people where to go to find out more about you and what you got going on, bro.
Yeah, so you can check out humanistreport.com. It kind of links to everything that I do, my YouTube channel. You can find me on YouTube, The Humanist Report. You can follow me on Twitter at Humanist Report. And also you can check out Establishment Exiles. It's a new podcast that I started with others. Ron Placone. We have Kevin, Brittany, Elisa Neal. Really, really great people. And Tim Black is someone who we would love to have on that podcast, because you'd be great. So, doing a bunch of things and just trying to keep up with the craziness. So check it out if you want to.
Man, I'm glad you plugged that. I didn't even know you guys were doing that podcast, Establishment Exiles.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's basically just, it's more informal. We just kind of shit on politicians and whatnot.
Good.
And it's just fun. It's one of those things where we want people to feel as though they're part of the conversation that we're having, and you come into this podcast kind of being up to date on all the news, and we just talk about what happened. And it's so much fun. It's like therapy. So yeah, we're going to be making the rounds and asking all different people to come on. And yeah, you're someone definitely in mind.
Well, dude, I'd be glad to join you guys, man.
Yeah, that would be a fun show. Yeah,
absolutely, man. Love rocking with you guys, man. Look, go find the Humanist Report on YouTube. Go to humanistreport.com. Find the Establishment Exiles. When does that air, or does it stream, Mike?
So we're trying to make it into a live show, but currently it is pre-recorded. But we usually release new episodes on Monday. Although it's kind of difficult with different schedules, so we try to do every Monday. But we try to be as up to date as we possibly can. But we are very new. We're only filming our 3rd episode this week, so we're trying to make it a regular thing. It's a work in progress, but it's going to be a really fun live show. That's our goal.
I love it.
One day.
I love it, man. Well, look, Mike, thank you once again, guys. You know what time it is. Go over, see the Humanist Report. Michael Figueredo, always putting it down. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. My guest will be, who is my guest tomorrow? Garland Nixon. Garland Nixon, Democrat, liberal, progressive, very, very popular guy is going to be on the show, man. So anyway, thank you for tuning in. I'll see you guys later. You know where to find me. And that's it for No Sellouts.
Thank you, Tim. This was amazing.
Thank you, my brother. Great show, man. Always.
Tim Black. Tim Black. Yes, I am.
Done.
True. Funny. Tim Black. I am TimBlack.com. Tim Black.
Thank you very much.